Man, so Mel got arrested for what she just did?
Wake up, you stupid idiot fuckface. Hey, moron, dumbass, wake up. Hey, you fucking moron.
Oh,
Hey.
wait, what happened?
What happened? Your dumbass stuck a fork in a toaster and almost died. That's what happened.
What, am I dead?
No, because I said you almost died, you fucking dipshit.
That's right, and jail kind of suits her, I'm not gonna lie. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for your friends and neighbors. This one's going to be doing my next review for another batch of episodes. This is for Season 2, Episode 5, Episode 6, and Episode 7. So, we are getting close to being caught up. We're getting very, very close. This weekend here, I'm going to be reviewing the upcoming 8th episode and episode 9, which is yet to be released this Friday. So this weekend we will be caught up on your friends and neighbors. Very much I've enjoyed this series. Really, really, fun series. It's kind of got some comedy to it. It's got some, drama to it. It's got some action to it. It's got a lot of crazy stuff going on. So, yeah, definitely one of my more favorite Apple TV series without a shadow of a doubt. It's really, really enjoyable, and I think they've done a good job with it. Jon Hamm, as usual, is amazing, and all the other actors have done an incredible job. So, let's get into this. Now, episode 5, this one's titled Halfway to Invisible. Now, this episode is pretty insane. Basically, you've got Coop in this one that ends up going on like a kind of big like retreat or like vacation on this like boat with his boss Jack. He ends up hooking up with this like blonde like British woman who kind of them two get together and stuff, and then he is interrupted by Jack in the other room, and then he finds out that Jack took too many freaking penis pills, and now his freaking his unit is stuck up now. So, he's kind of embarrassed. He's like holding it over his, his area. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? So that was the storyline this episode. That was, pretty wild. Pretty wild is the best way I'd put it. So yeah, that was insane. I honestly didn't even know what to say to all that, but yeah. Now, you've also got Mel in this one that ends up giving her number to this guy that's part of the construction crew that's like building the, fence to make sure her dog, doesn't come, to her friggin' property. And the guy gives her a number, and then she like pictures what it's like if she ended up like hooking up with the guy and stuff like that. But then in reality, she just uses her vibrator, so I was like, okay.
Fuck no.
That was kind of... I don't know what to say about that, genuinely.
Hey, fuck off.
Did it happen? Did it not happen? It's honestly hard to tell at this point, but it was crazy. I know that much. Now, we've got Elena in this one as well. Now, her brother ends up kind of just being in trouble, right? He ends up being stowed away here in jail. And the one dude that obviously kind of got him in that position, Elena tries to go talk to him, and he won't budge, basically. Nothing will work, because, her brother's in debt and stuff. And then she ends up bailing him out, and then he's, like, standing there just unappreciative like an absolute bitch. And I'm like, man... Elena's way too good for this freaking guy. Like, Elena bails this guy out and all this other stuff. And again, her own brother, keep in mind, and he doesn't even have the courtesy to say thank you or nothing. He got her involved in all this mess to begin with. Insane, genuinely. I felt really bad for Elena in this one. Elena probably had my favorite plot of this episode, because I liked seeing a little bit more of her brother. I liked seeing her kind of handle her own shit, And I think it was very, very interesting compared to the rest of the episode, which was kind of borderline a comedy episode, pretty much, honestly. That's the way I would look at it. So, yeah, no, this was a pretty insane one. And I thought this one had a lot of, funny, kind of plot points going on, You even got, like, Ash in this one that frickin' goes up to Coop here. They go to like this big party near the end of the episode, and Ash kind of shows up and he's like ready to party and stuff, And you've got a few kind of moments in this one that I thought was kind of insane. You've got Grace in this one that ends up kind of, revealing to everybody that she's pregnant, because this one idiot frickin' woman ends up coming up and saying, oh, I can tell when someone's pregnant, And she's like, okay, everybody, I'm pregnant, She didn't want to reveal it. And Barney's like, yeah, so glad that came out, So yeah, that truth is out now, of course. Now, I will say, one of my favorite elements of episode 5 was the part near the end with Mel and Sam. Now, you guys know I fucking hate Mel. I can't fucking stand her. I think she fucking sucks. And every frickin' scene with her dumbass vibrator and her frickin' a fantasy makeout session with the guy that she said she was going to be with. I fucking can't stand it. Can't stand any of it. But I will say, I really like the scene with Sam at the end of the episode. I really like the moment where her and Sam kind of had a heart-to-heart. They kind of fixed their drama a little bit, because obviously they punched each other in the face last season. Sam kind of threw her under the bus. Mel kind of accused her of everything, so they kind of had a heart-to-heart in this one and finally kind of got real with each other, which, I thought was, pretty good. And I did like the interactions between the two of them. Of course, Mel falls and hurts her back right before. But, yeah, no, it was nice. Honestly, probably one of the best Sam moments, when she actually admitted to everything she did and she kind of told her how sorry she was, because she should be sorry. Sam did a lot of shit and tried to throw Coop under the bus last season for something that he didn't do, something that she frickin' did, So, honestly, I think in general, that was probably one of my favorite scenes for Sam in a while, I think that was a nice kind of heart-to-heart between the two of them. And, the episode ends on a pretty sour note, because then you've got Ash that kind of shows up. He wants to party with Coop, and Coop's like, oh, hang on, I just got to take this one call. Picks up his phone and finds out his dad died. And I was like, yo, what? Like, damn. I was like, wow. So, yeah, Coop's dad ends up being dead here at the end of the episode, which I did not see coming. But, yeah, no, that really, really sucks. So, yeah, man, that, it took the energy of the episode and really just kind of made things kind of get pretty real there, I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, very crazy stuff there. Episode 5, I thought was nuts, honestly. Just cut out some of the Mel fantasy stuff and you have yourself a perfect episode. I'd give this one a 9.5 out of 10. I had a lot of fun with it. I love everything to do with, everybody just, Coop and his storyline on the boat. I thought was hilarious. I loved everything to do with Elena and her brother. I thought that stuff was pretty insane. I liked the stuff with the kids, Tori, stuff like that as per usual. I thought everything really worked great, honestly. The only thing I didn't like was, just Mel, but I really liked that scene with Sam at the end. I thought that was amazing. And overall, the ending with the dad dying, I thought was pretty nuts. So, yeah, I'm going to go 9.5. Really damn good episode. Just cut out Mel and you're smooth sailing. Now, okay, I want to talk about episode 6 now. For everything else, there was bowling. Now, usually these episodes are about an hour. This one here is 45 minutes. And I thought this was interesting because I was wondering why the episode was so short. This actually turned out to be one of the best episodes. And up to this point, it was my favorite episode of the season. This episode was so interesting because the majority of this episode takes place in one house, which I thought was kind of unique. Basically, they go to the funeral for the father. You get Ali, the sister, that ends up kind of singing like a song that the dad liked and stuff like that. And then the majority of it is them in this house. You have Ali and Tori that end up getting high in one of the bedrooms. Mel ends up catching them and then starts getting high with them because she finds that this is the only way she can get through to Tori. So she just starts getting high with them. And then you've got Cooper here that frickin', is there. He's, we're kind of seeing things from his perspective, The mom, unfortunately, she ends up kind of being numb to the fact that her husband's dead at first, but then later in the episode, it kind of ends up hitting her a little bit more so, And, I thought this was kind of nuts because you have, Grace who ends up, throwing up. You got a frickin' Allie's ex that ends up showing up. She ends up having a freak out. The mom ends up yelling back at them. Frickin', you get Mel that ends up yelling, and then Coop's like, wait, you got high? And she's like, well, it's the only way to break through, Shit just starts going crazy. Ash comes to this thing, wants to steal the frickin' dead guy's frickin' TV, and frickin' walks out the door with it. Coop's like, the fuck are you doing? I gave that to my dad. What are you doing? Are you wearing his belt? So, that was funny. Ash is just trying to take shit for himself. Ash is a sus motherfucker, man. I tell you what, he is sus as hell. And he's like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, buddy, are you serious? Fuck you. I love Ash. I think he's amazing. But, when he said that, I was just like, dude, you're caught red-handed. What the hell are you talking about? But no, seriously, the directing of this episode was very cool. Most of the episode took place in one spot, and the camera kept panning through room to room in this house, seeing them all kind of interact. And I liked it because it's where everybody could kind of have their blowout about all the things that have been bothering them, it was a really well done episode in that sense. And then you do get like an extra 10 minutes near the end where basically like you have Coop that runs into this woman at this bowling alley, which apparently his dad was having an affair with this woman apparently, from what I got, and they used to bowl together for like the last 10 years. Apparently she was a big part of his like last 10 years. So Coop ends up kind of talking to her and stuff, and they both kind of say how much they miss him. Thought that was a kind of nice moment, And you have Allie that's kind of sitting in her dad's office, and then, she ends up playing, like, the song that, she made when she was younger, And, it was a beautiful, beautiful episode. I didn't expect this one to be as good as it was, but I thought this episode was masterfully done, honestly. And it was really a nice episode for all the characters, So I'm going to give this one a perfect 10. I thought this episode was a 10 out of 10. I thought this was a really well done episode. It's a very simplistic episode, but I like the way they filmed it. I like the kind of strategic way they made the episode. And I liked how it took place in one spot. It kind of reminds me of like, there's an episode of The Bear that I ended up watching a few years ago that I, noticed did the same thing. And there was a few parts of this episode where it was like a one take, like the camera didn't cut, and I was like, damn, that takes a lot of effort. So I'm going to give some credit to the writers and the directors of that episode. I think they did a really good job, and it was an interesting concept for an episode. So yeah, episode 6, I give it 10. And then episode 7 here, Out East. Now, this is back to the hour mark. This episode's back to kind of the normal, hour. But this episode is not normal. Oh, no, sirree. It is not normal. We have an insane episode on our hands here. So they basically go to, like, this, like, house that Ash has rented out. Nick goes there. Barney goes there. Coop goes there. Sam is there, obviously, because she's, sleeping with, Ash at the time. And they basically go there. It's like this nice kind of welcoming scene. Meanwhile, you have Mel and you have Allie back at home that end up getting frickin' shit-faced drunk, basically, while everybody else is out on vacation. And, let's talk about what Mel does. She's such an idiot. She ends up frickin', like, going in this neighbor's, yard. Allie kind of talks her into it as well because they're both hammered, and she ends up tripping in this like frickin' like paint or whatever, and frickin' falls on it. She's like covered in like turquoise paint, and she's just like, and she runs away, and I was like, what the fuck? And then the cops end up arresting her. I was like, hell yeah, man, hell yeah, the cops arrest her, fuck yeah. Keep her locked up. Well, unfortunately, she doesn't get locked up. She ends up getting released at the end, god damn it, but still, whatever. It was nice seeing some karma for her, She has done so much stupid shit over the last 2 seasons. Honestly, it was nice seeing that dumb idiot freaking get something that she deserves. So, love seeing that. Mel ends up paying for that, I thought that was really great. Now, let's talk about Ash in this one. So, he ends up kind of offering Coop this stuff, and he's kind of just like, yeah, look, like, I could offer you all this money and stuff in return. And out of nowhere, the frickin' FBI end up showing up to his house. And they're all standing inside, like Barney and Nick and the rest of them. And even Sam is kind of just like, what the hell is going on? And Ash is out there arguing with the FBI. And you're kind of wondering at that point, like, okay, something's going on. The FBI are obviously here for something. What is going on with Ash? And Sam even kind of, asks him the question later on. She's like, what are you guilty of, And he just says, he's like, oh, well, I run a lot of businesses, and they investigate me and stuff, good thing I'm not a bad guy. And she's like, are you, and it's like, man, I don't believe him. I don't believe this guy. He's overly just intense for no reason. The guy is genuinely like, he always has some kind of answer for something. He always knows everything that Coop is doing. And he even kind of says to Coop, he's like, yeah, well, if you don't take this deal, it's only a matter of time before the FBI shows up at your house, And I was like, man, this guy, there's something wrong with him. And I can't pinpoint what he's done. But there's something going on with this dude. And it's just a matter of time before we end up finding out, I think. So, all that stuff was insane. You can tell Sam is kind of on the verge now. She's not really so sure about it, and she's not so sure about him, Like she even gives him a kiss, and he's just like, sometimes a kiss can feel more like a non-kiss, and then she kind of goes in for another one, and then he's satisfied, But you can tell Sam is kind of looking to get the hell out of there at this point. She doesn't really know what the hell she's doing no more. And then basically you got this party that ends up being thrown while Mel and Allie are drunk, and she ends up getting arrested and stuff. Well, you've got them at this party. You've got the British lady that was on the boat that goes back to this party and runs into Coop. I like earlier when Hunter's just kind of like Dad, who is that? And then he just puts his arm around him, you know. He doesn't say a damn word, you know, because he doesn't know what the future holds with this woman yet, you know. So Coop ends up kind of getting with her, but then Grace kind of interrupts and says, hey, look, what happened to all that money, you know, that my husband and you were, you know, handling? What's going on with that, you know? And Coop's just like, I'm kind of in the middle of something here, you know? And then she's just like, no, Coop, like, what's going on with you and my husband? What's happening with the money? You know, like, I can tell when you're lying to me, Coop, nothing, you know, whatever. And Coop does not tell her the exact truth, but she suspects that something's going on, which Grace would be 100% right. She doesn't get all the answers out of him, but she does suspect him, and I think that, you know, makes a lot of sense. She's not a dumb woman. She even says that to him. She's like, I'm not dumb, you know? He's like, well, no, I never said you were dumb, you know? And he's trying to kind of cover his tracks as much as he can, you know? So he tells the blonde woman that he'll meet her in the bedroom, and then on his way there, he sees Sam kind of crying and stuff in the other room, and then he kind of sits there and talks with her, you know? And then she kind of says how much of a mistake she made and all that stuff, and how much she's regretting everything, and then out of nowhere, frickin' them two start hooking up, and I was like, damn, Coop, what the fuck? And then, yeah, and then they're like, no, it's a bad idea, we shouldn't do it, you know? So they don't end up going through with getting together, but they almost did, you know? And they kind of sort of did, but they didn't go all the way, you know? Just a few smooches, you know? And then essentially after that, you kind of have a few moments where they kind of, you know, are having the party of their lives, and then Coop gets the phone call that not only has Mel been arrested, but then Tori, which goes to the teen party, she ends up trying to drive away at the end, and she's, you know, under the influence, and the cops end up finding her. So then Tori ends up getting thrown in literally the cell right next to her mother, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. And she's like, oh, now would be a good time to talk, Tori? You know, she's trying to talk to her. She's trying to, she like tells the guard, she's like, oh, can I please talk to her? You know, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, oh my God, man. Mel is just such a dumbass. I just can't stand her. But anyway, I thought that was absolutely insane. And in terms of kind of where I would say it goes from here is like, you know, I think in general, I think it's kind of insane because Coop ends up getting them out. And then you kind of have them that are kind of deciding like what to do next, you know. You get this montage at the end when he kind of lets them out. And then you have kind of more of this, you know, big montage at the end. And it kind of leaves you at a spot now where you're kind of like, what now? You know, they've been left, they've been rescued by Coop, and then you get this guy that ends up kind of standing outside of Coop's house in this vehicle. He drives right up to Coop at the end and then zigzags and drives away, almost like a threat, like as if somebody's watching Coop at the very end of the episode. So we don't know what happens after that, the episode cliffhangers, but I thought that was an insane episode with Ash. Really kept me on the edge of my seat with him. There was some hilarious party stuff as per usual with this show. Mel getting arrested was so damn satisfying. And in general, I think this is one of the better episodes. I honestly think this episode might actually be my favorite of Season 2 so far. So I'm going to go another 10 out of 10 for Episode 7. I thought this was an amazing episode. Episode 6 was great. So was this one. Both really, really well executed episodes. Really, really enjoyed them all the way through. And let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know your thoughts down below. So anyway, if you guys are new to the channel, you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos very soon. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies need a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.